19th pick in the NFL draft.
Hey, make us lunch. We're hungry.
Dallas still stinks. You're my doing, King Dingbat here, and Monday after a loss always stinks. It does. It's horrible. I hate it because it just sets your whole week off, man. And to lose to the New England Patriots yesterday, especially the way we lost, it hurts. It hurts, and I know a lot of Eagle fans are hurt, and there's a lot to talk about, a lot of blame to go around, a lot of people pointing fingers, and there's even YouTube videos I want to get into in a little bit because there's a lot of people saying the same things, and I kind of want to address it, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about who's to blame for this loss, okay? Now, the first guy I'm going to mention is the guy who I love. I love the kid. I love him. I make no qualms about being a Carson Wentz fan, but he was not good last night. He stunk. He stunk, and that pains me to say it. Of course, I hate to say it, but I don't think he was good down the stretch. He missed some throws, especially outs to Ertz a couple times, to Goddard, and I'm talking about the second to last drive. Not the one where they got back with 20-something seconds or whatever, but that final drive where they wind up throwing to Nelson Aguilar in the end zone. That is where I was the most frustrated with Carson Wentz, more than anything, because you have a chance right there to take this franchise over, to pull it away from the ghost of Nick Foles, right? And you had the opportunity, and you blew it. You came up short. And now you have to wait for that next opportunity. And I don't know when it's going to come again. I mean, it'll probably start next week for Seattle. But he had the opportunity. And he didn't capitalize. And I wasn't happy with the way Carson Wentz played. And from what I have watched, gone back and watched, he does miss some throws. There was some guys that came open here and there. Although not as prevalent as people like to make you think. But, some things out of the backfield to running backs he could have done, he didn't do. He wasn't good yesterday. Okay, I think this was arguably his worst game of the year. I didn't like him in the Dallas game. I thought he wasn't good in that game either. So I would say the Dallas game, this game are up there for really bad games. And those are two games where you can start to take over this franchise and take that next step. And that's what it's about with Carson right now. He's got to take a next step. He does. And I know he has nothing to work with. I know that he is literally playing with the worst receiving core I've seen in franchise history. That's the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie about it. That's the truth. They are worse than anything I've ever seen. And the garbage shit that he got to play with yesterday, why do you think he holds the ball too long? I mean, there's so many reasons, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him because he wasn't good. And I'm not going to do it today. But, it does frustrate me that he's playing with such crap. Okay? I look at other quarterbacks around the league, and nobody has the crap around them that he does. But with that said, he still had the plays to be made. He still had guys open at times. He missed Nelson Aguilar coming across the middle. He missed Ertz. He missed Goddard. He missed guys at the right time, at the perfect time. Like, I can understand. You're playing the Patriots. You're in a close game. I get all that. Okay? I can understand all the punts and the back and forth. Get it. But when the last drive that tied up, was when he needed to step up, and he didn't. And that's what I'm most disappointed about. And I'm going to say, he wasn't good. So he deserves a lot of the blame. I put a lot of the blame on him. Okay? That's the first thing. So, for yous that want to hear me say Carson Wentz wasn't good, he stunk, he did. Admitted. I give you that. That said, Doug Peterson stunk. Doug Peterson, Mike Crow were horrible. I mean, why would you go away from the running game that's working so well? I understand Lane Johnson went out, Jason Peters went out, but why did you give up on it? And why would you not use Miles Sanders in the passing game more? A lot of the plays that they run, a lot of the things that they do are very vanilla, very plain, very easy for me to call out, and for I'm sure many of you. You know when they're running, you know when they're passing, and if we know this, Belichick knows this. And what happened in the game? As I went through it quickly again, because it's very hard to watch. But the Eagles are up 10-0. You see the Patriots have the ball, and you see Belichick. He's not even watching the game. He's yelling at his defensive players. He's talking to the defense. He is making adjustments. And when he made those adjustments, Doug and Groh never adjusted to the adjustments that Belichick made. And it was checkmate. You can't do that with Belichick. You can't be one-dimensional with Bill Belichick. Okay? So a lot of the blame, as you know, a lot of it goes on Carson, on his shoulders, no doubt. Some of it goes on the coaching staff and the offensive coordinator. They stunk. They have to do a better job. They have to put your quarterback in a better position. I mean, they have no rollouts for him. They don't get him out of the pocket. They don't move the pocket. They let him sit in that pocket in the shotgun and just wait. And wait. And what is he waiting for? He's waiting for guys that can't get open to get open. And then I hear people complaining about him throwing in tight windows. Well, of course he's throwing in tight windows. They don't get open. There's no separation. This isn't new. This is happening all year. And here's the other thing with Carson. If Carson Wentz isn't perfect, then it's going to look real bad because you can't afford him to make one mistake with the receivers he has around him. He can't, and sometimes I think he gets too much blame because he has nothing to work with. And a lot of times he doesn't throw for a lot of yards or this or that, but he's having a pretty good game. You're just not seeing it because you're looking at the crap around him. So I don't agree with a lot of people are saying today. In a lot of ways, because what I'm hearing today isn't, hey, Carson Wentz had a bad game. It's Carson Wentz is an absolute failure. He's an absolute bust as a quarterback. We should never had him, blah, 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 blah. End all be alls. Totally disagree. Now, people have the right to their opinion. I respect it. Their opinion's just as right as my opinion. Okay? Then you want to look at the receivers. We talked about them. They stink. Nelson Aguilar, after, I don't care what anybody says. After we complain about Carson, we say he wasn't good, all those things. Nelson Aguilar still at the end had a chance to make a play. He dropped the ball in the end zone. He should never have dropped it. And I know it looks like a hard catch because he's like this. But the truth of the matter is this. I don't know how he even got into that position because when you watch him running that route, his back should be turning to the goal line and that ball should come right in his hand. He does not know how to track a long ball. And this is a problem. And he's the only guy that has any speed to get downfield to do it. So it's insane. The whole thought process is insane. They need new offensive coordinator at the end of the year. They need to revamp the whole offense, become a vertical threat, get receivers that fit that kind of scheme. I would seriously look at a coach from Kansas City Chiefs or somebody like that on offense, and I would try to pick somebody who's ready for maybe a coordinator spot and give it to them because they got to do something. And then 11 carries for Miles Sanders. I thought Miles Sanders was so effective early in the game. And I also don't understand why they don't use him out of the backfield. Why didn't they throw to him? Why didn't they do wheel routes with him? I mean, these are all the problems. The offense stunk all across the board. It's not just all on Carson, although he gets blame. Doug Peterson gets blame. It's not all on Doug. It's not all on Nelson Aguilar. It's on all of them. And I got to say this too. I listened to a lot of videos this morning, and I just hear the same thing from video makers. They all run on the camera, and then they say, you got to admit it's Carson Wentz, and all you other video makers out there, you have to admit it's Carson Wentz, and how dare you not admit Carson Wentz? You're lying to the people. Shit like that. And I'm thinking, all these different video makers, Eagle video makers, are making the same thing, saying the same thing. So who the hell are they talking about? They're all saying the same thing. They must be talking about me. Me, Maybe Lord Brunson, because Lord Brunson, at least when I listen to his video, shout out to him, he's speaking rational. He's speaking rational. He's saying where Carson Wentz made mistakes, but where the coaches made mistakes, where the receivers made mistakes. It's not just one dude. But people are so ready to just basically write Carson Wentz off that they look for one bad game or one mistake. The truth of the matter is this. If you want to go back to the early in the season, second game, Atlanta, he had a horrible first half, great second half. They blew it. They dropped the game winner. They dropped the game winner against Detroit. Okay? You give my guy wins. You build his confidence. You get that team going with wins, with big catches. It's a whole different ball of wax. Now we're blaming him for the whole season, and I think it's unfair. And when I hear these people all say the same thing, they all say the same thing. You have to blame Carson Wentz, and all the people out there who are not blaming Carson Wentz, that's on you. Well, but you're all doing the same video, so who are you talking about? Okay? Let me say this. The idea that people think, hey, you know what? Just because your opinion is different than mine, you're being dishonest with people. That's the impression that is put out there. That is kind of what they're saying. Okay, I'm not mentioning names and all those kind of things, but that's what's said. And maybe none of it's geared to me, but I'm going to say this anyways. Okay, just because my opinion is different than your opinion does not make me dishonest. Does not make you dishonest. It just means we have two different beliefs. I believe in Carson Wentz long term. I believe he's still going to be the quarterback that we always want. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. My favorite quarterback of all time is Randall Cunningham. He never won a Super Bowl. Okay? I fought with my dad day in and day out for years. My dad will tell you, because I said McNabb was going to win a Super Bowl. McNabb was the guy. And he said he ain't the guy. He's not going to win one. And I refused to agree with him. He was right. I was wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm not saying I can't be wrong again. But right now, I do believe in Carson Wentz. I believe this was a bad game. I believe this was a really bad game. I believe that it's one game. I believe that he blew a shot to really take over his franchise and get out of that Nick Foles shadows that people keep him in. And he didn't do it. He failed. But gosh, we got Seattle next week, man. He could come out of it then. You're going to play Dallas right before Christmas, probably for the division. There's plenty more times and opportunities for the man to do it. He's got to do it soon. It's frustrating. I get it. It's time. It's time for him to step up his game, take it to the next level. And he should take all the criticism because he wasn't good yesterday. As I agree with. But to say that because he wasn't good yesterday means that he's a bust, his career, is wrong. That is wrong. And if you said that about any quarterback, I would say you're wrong. And that is just my opinion. You know, and it's my opinion, not because I'm trying to fool somebody or pull something over on somebody. It's because it's what I believe. And I'm just telling you what I believe, even if it's different than what you believe. With that said, take care, talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.